Welcome to the Taste China Learn English. Imagine eating a breakfast so heavy and just so intensely salty that your first instinct is to go right back to sleep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for a city dweller, a morning meal of heavy meat, fried dough, and hot salty tea sounds like a one-way ticket to a food coma.
Exactly. But for a nomad living out on the vast, freezing, windswept plains of Inner Mongolia, well, that meal is the exact fuel required to survive a day of intense physical labor.
It really is. And, today we are leaving the modern city routine behind. We are traveling to the wide open grasslands to explore Mongolian cuisine
Wow.
or Ningjiangkai.
Right, it's a completely different world out there.
Yeah.
And our mission for this deep dive is kind of twofold, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We are going to explore this incredible, deeply traditional food culture, but we're also going to focus on the English language.
Because we want to give you, the listener, the exact English vocabulary words you need to describe these really unique flavors and textures.
Exactly. And we are going to keep the conversation at a comfortable, deliberate pace today, so you can really absorb both the culture and the language.
Yeah, so if you are an English learner, or honestly just someone who loves food, you're in the exact right place.
Absolutely.
But before we can talk about specific meals or like cooking styles, we really need to understand the environment.
Right. The landscape changes everything.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, we are standing on an ocean of green grass that just stretches as far as the eye can see. The winters are incredibly harsh, and the summers are bright and windy.
So you have to ask, what is the foundational ingredient that keeps people alive in an environment like this?
Right. And the answer to that is meat.
The absolute center of the Mongolian diet. And specifically, we are talking about mutton.
Mutton. Let's define that really quickly.
Sure. So mutton is the English word for the meat of an adult sheep. That is the engine that powers this entire culture.
It's the core of everything.
It is. And the word we use to describe the absolute highest quality mutton is succulent.
Succulent. That is a fantastic word. But, it is not one we use every single day in casual conversation.
No, it's a very specific, very descriptive food word. Succulent basically means tender, juicy, and rich in flavor.
Right. Like when you bite into something succulent, your mouth immediately waters.
Exactly. But I know you had a thought about this earlier regarding how the sheep are raised.
Yeah, I am actually struggling to understand something here. I kind of want to push back on this idea.
Okay, go for it.
So the sheep in Inner Mongolia, they are roaming free over hundreds of miles, right?
Yes, they are constantly moving, just grazing across the open prairie.
Well, so if a sheep is walking miles and miles every single day, shouldn't it be incredibly muscular?
You would think so, yeah.
Because usually, like when an animal works its muscles that much, the meat becomes very tough and stringy. It's like an athlete's versus a couch potato.
That's a really good analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does all that constant walking possibly create meat that is soft, juicy, and succulent?
That is a great question. And the answer lies in exactly what they are doing while they walk.
Which is eating, I assume.
Exactly. They are not just running on a treadmill to work out, they are foraging. They are eating a highly diverse diet of wild prairie grasses, wild leeks, and native herbs.
Oh, wow. So they are eating a huge variety of plants.
Yes. And this constant slow movement combined with that wild, nutrient-rich diet, well, it actually changes how the sheep's body stores fat.
How so?
Instead of just growing a thick, heavy layer of fat on the outside of the body, the fat becomes integrated into the muscle itself.
Oh, I see. So the fat is distributed evenly throughout the meat because of their active lifestyle.
Right. So when that meat is cooked, that integrated fat slowly melts and it keeps the muscle incredibly moist.
That makes perfect sense.
And there's a bonus, too. Those wild leeks and herbs they eat actually flavor the meat from the inside out.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they essentially season themselves while they are still alive, just wandering on the grassland.
That is amazing. They season themselves.
It is. That is the biological mechanism that creates that incredibly juicy, succulent quality. You are literally tasting the ecosystem of the prairie.
Wow. Okay, that perfectly explains the why. So we have this phenomenal succulent meat, and Naturally, my mind goes straight to the kitchen.
As it should.
Right. And if I have a premium ingredient like that, I imagine a chef carefully creating a complex marinade, adding garlic, ginger, soy sauce, and all these heavy spices to make a masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely. That is how most of the world cooks.
But the signature dish of Inner Mongolia goes in the exact opposite direction, doesn't it?
It goes entirely in the opposite direction. It's the ultimate lesson in culinary restraint.
Restraint. I like that. So what is this everyday dish called?
The most famous everyday dish on the grassland is called Shni Bin Ro, which in English we translate directly as hand-grabbed mutton.
Hand-grabbed mutton. Okay. And how is it cooked?
The cooking method is shockingly simple. You take large chunks of meat on the bone, put them in a pot of plain water, add a little salt, and boil it.
Just water and salt.
Nothing else. Literally nothing.
Okay, I have to admit that sounds kind of terrible to a modern city palate. Boiled meat.
I know how it sounds.
Because usually, like boiling meat in plain water makes it look gray, feel rubbery, and taste incredibly bland. Doesn't it just taste like, gamey, wet sheep?
I completely understand why you would think that. But this really challenges our whole modern philosophy of cooking.
How do you mean?
Well, we are used to using spices to mask or hide the flavor of low-quality meat. We buy cheap meat at the supermarket and cover it in BBQ sauce.
Oh, right. We're hiding the true flavor.
Exactly. But when you have a succulent sheep that has been eating wild herbs its whole life, spices are actually a distraction.
A distraction from the meat itself.
Yes. And the English word we use to describe this specific flavor profile is original.
Original. Okay, let's break that down for our learners. In English, original means existing from the very beginning.
Right.
It's the first form of something before anything has been changed or added to it.
Yes, exactly. Think of it like listening to a world-class singer perform a cappella.
Oh, with no backup band.
Right. No backup band, no instruments, and absolutely no computer editing to fix their voice.
Just pure talent.
Exactly. The boiling water strips away all the distractions. It forces you to experience the pure, unedited quality of the meat itself.
That is a beautiful way to look at it.
Adding heavy spices to Shrig Ro would actually be an insult to the grassland because it would cover up the original flavor that nature spent years building.
That makes so much sense. It is like, it's like putting a cheap bumper sticker on a Ferrari.
Yes. Perfect analogy.
You do not cover up something that is already perfect in its natural state. You just let the quality speak for itself.
Exactly. And because of the way the fat is distributed, like we talked about, boiling it actually makes it incredibly tender.
Tender. Let's focus on that word. That is an essential English vocabulary word for food.
It really is.
When food is tender, it means it is soft. It is easy to cut, and it's easy to chew.
Right. It yields to your teeth without a fight. The slow boiling process breaks down the proteins very gently until the meat is perfectly tender.
And that tenderness really dictates how you eat it, right? I mean, the name of the dish is literally hand-grabbed mutton.
Exactly. You are not sitting down with a delicate silver fork and a porcelain plate.
No, you are eating this in a way that feels very primal.
Primal. That is a really powerful English word.
It is. Primal means basic, essential, and relating to an early stage of human history.
Right. It connects us back to our ancestors. When you eat Shni Bin Ro, you use your hands.
You are literally holding a large bone in one hand, using a sharp knife in the other, and just slicing that tender meat right off the bone.
Yes, there is no pretense at all.
It is just a human being, fire, water, and food. It strips away all the polite manners of city dining. It is a deeply primal experience.
It really is. And that primal simplicity is beautiful. It is perfectly suited for a quiet Tuesday night in a family yurt.
But I imagine that doesn't scale up for a massive party.
Right. You cannot feed a massive wedding party or a major festival crowd with just a pot of boiling water.
So what do?
Well, the environment of the grassland is vast and dramatic, and when it is time to celebrate, their food becomes just as dramatic.
I love that.
They move from simple water to the grand spectacle of fire.
What a contrast. So what is the centerpiece when a nomadic community really wants to throw a party?
The ultimate celebration dish is Kinnikwon Yang, which translates to roasted whole sheep.
A whole sheep, like literally the entire animal, not just a leg or a shoulder.
The entire animal roasted over an open fire.
Wow. The leap from a simple pot of boiled meat to a whole roasted animal is massive.
It is a complete sensory transformation because when you roast the whole animal, the intense heat of the fire interacts with the fat on the outside of the sheep.
Okay, and what does that do?
It creates a texture that is totally different from the soft, boiled, hand-grabbed mutton. The English word for this new texture is crispy.
Crispy. Oh, that is a word that instantly makes people hungry.
It does.
For our listeners, crispy means the outside surface is pleasantly thin, hard, and easily broken.
Right. Think of the sound of stepping on dry leaves in the autumn.
Oh, that's a great example. Or imagine biting into a perfectly fried potato chip. That satisfying crunch. That is the exact definition of crispy.
Exactly. And the real magic of the roasted whole sheep is the contrast.
The contrast between the outside and the inside.
Yes. You bite through that hot, crispy outer skin and immediately hit the soft, succulent, tender meat underneath.
Oh, man. That sounds incredible.
And the roasting process, the fat dripping onto the fire, the heat caramelizing the outside, it creates a smell that fills the entire camp.
I can only imagine.
And the word we use for that specific smell is irresistible.
Irresistible. Okay, let us look at how that word is actually built in English.
Good idea.
The core word is resist, which means to fight against something or to say no to it.
Right.
And the prefix IR means not. So irresistible means it is physically impossible to say no.
It is simply too tempting. Your brain cannot fight the attraction.
Right. When that roasting meat hits the air, it creates this absolutely irresistible aroma. You literally cannot stop yourself from turning toward it.
You really can't. Imagine being a guest at one of these celebrations.
Okay, paint the picture for me.
You are sitting inside a massive circular yurt. There are dozens of people. It is loud. People are laughing, drinking, telling stories.
Just a great chaotic party atmosphere.
Exactly. And then the flaps of the tent open and a giant wooden tray carrying a golden, crispy, roasted whole sheep is brought into the center of the room.
Oh, wow.
That irresistible smell hits the air, and I imagine the entire room just goes completely silent.
The sheer scale of the food just commands total respect.
It does. It is a profound symbol of incredible hospitality and wealth.
But, if we only look at the grand feasts and the roasted sheep, we're kind of missing the reality of daily life on the grassland, aren't we?
We absolutely are. To truly understand the nomadic people, we have to look at what fuels them before the sun even fully rises.
We need to rewind the clock.
Exactly. We need to talk about breakfast.
Yes. The fuel for the prairies. Earlier, at the start of the deep dive, I asked you to imagine your morning routine.
Right, the city routine.
A quick piece of toast, maybe a paper cup of coffee on the train to the office.
Standard modern breakfast.
But that is a breakfast designed for someone who is going to sit in a chair and type on a keyboard all day. What does a nomad eat before stepping out into freezing winds to herd animals?
Well, I can tell you it is a massive departure from coffee and a pastry.
I bet.
A traditional Inner Mongolian breakfast is built around salty milk tea.
Okay, salty milk tea.
But it is not just tea. They add pieces of fried dough called binsi ke. They often add literal chunks of meat into the tea.
Wait, meat in the tea?
Yes. And they take pieces of dried, hardened dairy curd, known as endofalf, and they drop them directly into the hot tea to soften up.
Okay, I have to stop you there. Pieces of meat and dried cheese curds soaking in hot, salty milk tea.
Yep, that's the breakfast.
Compared to a delicate little bowl of cold cereal, this Mongolian morning meal is completely hardcore.
Hardcore is a highly descriptive word here.
It really is. Hardcore basically means intensely committed, extreme, or uncompromising.
Right. You usually hear it describing aggressive rock music or like an extreme sport.
Exactly. But using it for food perfectly captures the intensity of this meal. It is a hardcore breakfast.
Because mostly we expect breakfast to be sweet. Pancakes with syrup, fruit, sugary pastries.
Right. Morning food is usually sweet food.
But this milk tea is the exact opposite. It is savory.
Savory. That is a crucial vocabulary word for our listeners.
It is. Savory describes food that belongs to the category of salty, rich, or meaty flavors rather than sweet flavors.
Oh, a chocolate cake is sweet, but a rich beef stew is savory.
Exactly. And Mongolian milk tea is deeply savory.
I am still kind of stuck in the dried cheese curds, though. The endo often.
Oh, they are essential.
But I imagine putting dried fermented dairy into hot tea gives it a really sharp, almost sour kick. It must really shock your taste buds first thing in the morning.
It certainly wakes you up. And the word we use to describe that sharp flavor is tangy.
Tangy, I love that word.
It's very descriptive.
When we say tangy, think of the sensation of biting into a fresh slice of lemon or eating plain, unsweetened yogurt.
Right. It is a strong, sharp, pleasantly sour taste that literally makes the sides of your mouth tingle. That is tangy.
So you have this bowl in front of you. You have the savory, salty broth of the tea. You have the heavy calories of the fried dough and the meat.
And the sharp, tangy bite of the softening cheese curds.
It is just a heavy, dense, complex bowl of calories.
It really is.
But logically, why? I look at that meal and my modern city brain says, if I eat that at 6 in the morning, my stomach will be so full and heavy that I will not be able to move.
Right, you'd want a nap.
It seems totally counterproductive to hard physical work.
Well, it seems counterproductive if your work involves sitting at a desk. But you have to remember the environment we described at the very beginning.
The freezing plains.
Yes, an ocean of grass, high winds, freezing temperatures. When a nomad steps out of the yurt, their body is immediately burning thousands of calories just to stay warm.
Oh, wow. Just regulating body temperature takes that much energy.
Absolutely. And then they are wrestling livestock, they are riding horses for hours, and walking miles over uneven ground.
Ah, so their metabolism is basically a roaring furnace.
Exactly. A piece of toast would burn up in 20 minutes out there. This hardcore, savory, tangy breakfast is slow burning fuel.
Because it's so dense.
Right. The fat from the milk and the meat, the dense carbohydrates from the dough, and the protein from the curds, it all digests slowly over the course of a brutal 10-hour workday.
So it is highly functional.
It is pure function.
It is brilliant. Really.
Yeah.
The environment shapes the sheep shapes the diet, and the diet provides the exact energy needed to survive the environment.
It is a perfect, unbroken circle.
Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, and we have learned some incredible English vocabulary to help describe it all.
We really have.
Let us do a quick rhythmic recap of the words we explored today. We want you, our listeners, to really lock these into your memory.
Sounds good. Let's review. First, we explored succulent.
That tender, juicy quality of the meat created by a lifetime of grazing on wild herbs.
Then we learned original.
The pure, unhidden flavor of the hand-grabbed mutton, cooked simply in plain water to let the natural quality shine, like a cappella singer.
We talked about meat being tender,
Soft, easy to cut, and yielding to your teeth.
which led to a primal dining experience.
Basic, essential, and connecting us back to our ancestors. Just fire, water, meat, and a knife.
When it was time to celebrate, we introduced crispy.
The thin, crunchy, hard outside skin of the roasted whole sheep.
And that roasting created an irresistible aroma.
A smell so tempting it is physically impossible to say no to it.
Finally, we looked at breakfast, a hardcore extreme meal to start the day,
It featured savory milk tea, salty and rich instead of sweet.
filled with tangy dried curds that provide a sharp, sour kick to wake up the senses.
Succulent, original, tender, primal, crispy, irresistible, hardcore, savory, and tangy.
These are powerful English words for an incredibly powerful food culture.
Absolutely.
You know, as we wrap up our journey to the Inner Mongolian grasslands today, I want to leave you with something to think about.
I love a good final thought.
We have seen how deeply the food of the prairie mirrors the landscape itself. The food is raw, it is unpretentious, and it is built strictly for survival and community.
They're perfectly adapted.
Right. Every single dish serves a specific purpose dictated by the world around them. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up and prepare your own breakfast, take a hard look at it.
Whether it is a sugary cereal, a protein shake, or just a black coffee on the run.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what does this morning meal say about my lifestyle, the pace of my life, and the world I live in?
That is a wonderful question to carry with us. Our food really tells the story of who we are.
It really does.
Listen, the next time you sit down to eat a great meal, do not be shy. Try using some of these English words to describe your food.
Practice makes perfect.
Grab a knife, slice off a piece of something tender, and join the grassland feast in your mind. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Ming Jing Kai and added some fantastic vocabulary to your English toolbox.
It's been a great journey.
If you found this journey helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an adventure with us. Until next time, stay curious.